Folks, welcome inside the Parisi Palace, high above 2919 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you live on PowerTalk1210.com. Please stream all of our live local programming. Go to PowerTalk1210.com and stream all of our live local shows, including the Jake Feinberg Show. We're happy to have you along with us today. Without further ado, I'd like to bring in another edition, set 2. Hugh Romney, Wavy Gravy, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hugh Nanton Romney, a name that I sort of despised in my adulthood because I'd be walking down the street, somebody would say, "Hey, you," and I'd turn around and they'd say, "What are you looking at?" And that didn't happen just once, that happened frequently. And so when I became Wavy Gravy, through the grace of the universe and an amazing teacher, mentor, amazement dude named B.B. King that looked down at me and for some reason said, "You Wavy Gravy?" And I said, "Yes, sir." That was it.
Wavy, I wanted to ask you, could you talk about your the first time that you got a chance to really interact with Ravi Shankar?
That was kind of interesting because, it was one of the shows that I actually caught at Woodstock along with the Incredible String Band. I was mostly, and Jimmy doing the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
Which is something that is a carryover to our summers at Camp Winter Rainbow. We end up each session of camp waking up the kids to that Star Spangled Banner in the morning, and they rush out of their teepees and have this big pillow fight, which is, oh God, I'm certain that Jimmy looks down from wherever he is, or up or sideways. Anyhow, I'm sure he is as thrilled and amused as we are.
Absolutely.
No headshots, no tears.
but I mean, every morning that's Reveille?
No, just the last morning of camp.
Oh, the last. Well, that's a great way to end it. That's great.
That's part of the way that ended. Well, they also do a big review for parents and friends for the world, actually.
But Ravi stayed at the Hog Farm in Los Angeles?
No, Ravi Shankar, I connected with deeply when I went to the Bangladesh benefit. And here's the deal. I was in Roosevelt Hospital. I had just returned from India and checked into this hospital, capturing the hospital record for running diseases in a single human being, including tuberculosis and an amoeba in me the size of a small horse.
Jesus.
They said this adventurer actually drank water buffalo milk.
Right.
Of course I did.
Right.
With my sampa in the Tibetan lamasery that was delicious. Also with yak butter. Went very well with the water buffalo milk and my gruel. And I was happy to have it and sucked it up. And tuberculosis is no big deal these days. You take a little orange pill for about a year, and then you're TB free.
Right.
So that was no problem. Meanwhile, I heard very much about this concert for Bangladesh, and it was our adventure to drive across Asia to bring food and medical supplies to Bangladesh, and the Indo-Pakistani war broke out, so we ended up distributing the food and medical supplies to Tibetan refugee camps, and cruising on to Kathmandu. We were the first Western vehicle on the Chinese road to Pokhara, and then we walked for a month to Gyeongsang. And then I came back to the free world. I think I weighed about 90 pounds, maybe 89 pounds. It was not my bottom weight. My bottom weight eventually became 78 pounds.
Wow.
Which was horrifying. But and then I was rescued by a polarity center in Boulder Creek, California. They had a vision. They could heal me. And my wife threw me in the back of a station wagon and drove me there. And they took care of me, feeding me. Well, that was a whole other adventure, which we can discuss in a bit. But
sure.
What we're talking about is Ravi Shankar right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, so I knew that they were going to have a problem at this concert because the record companies had bought enormous block tickets. So there were a lot of people that wanted to go and couldn't go because there wasn't any room. So there were going to be these huge crowds with attitude. So what I thought we could do is in the lobby show projections on the walls of what the deal was at Bangladesh and of the hunger and of what the thing was really about, and pass out flyers and communicate with these people that were going to be turned away. My friend Chipmunk, who built the stage at Woodstock and who invented concert lighting at the Village Gate and set up all my lighting for all my performances, he referred me to Alan Klein, who was the money man for the Beatles. And I spoke to Alan Klein, and he said, "Well, I think our security is quite sufficient for this, and we absolutely, you're not necessary, and we're not going to use you. We're going to go with what we have." And there was nothing I could do. I couldn't talk around this guy. He was a wall of denial that anything could go wrong. But I did get a ticket through Chip to go to the darn thing, and I was so looking forward to it. I got a special pass to leave the hospital, and I walked into the theater into a full-blown riot. And there were people bouncing off the walls and some glass breaking, and it was just, that's how it was. Bam, bam, wow, bam. And this cop kept running at me, and he had a rolled-up newspaper he was going to whack me with. And I showed him my brace. I said, once again, arrest me, but don't bust me. And he took aim and hit me right in the spine with this rolled-up newspaper. Thank God it wasn't the Sunday Times, or I would have been dead. And I came to in a whole other hospital. I came to in the French hospital. And they had to send me back to the Roosevelt Hospital, where I received 2 phone calls. One from Bob Dylan and one from Ravi Shankar. Both moving calls worrying about my health and was I all right. And Ravi's call was the juiciest. I mean, he just spent a whole lot of time and concern. And it totally turned this bad experience that I had into, wow, it was a glorious evening after all.
Do you have any idea if you said there was a riot already between paid customers that were inside the venue? Was there were
No. It was all in the lobby.
Okay, it was in the lobby.
And it was all people like that I had suggested to Alan Klein that were totally disappointed that they couldn't even get standing room, and there was no room for them, and it was super sold out. And somehow or other, they should have made that announcement and broadcast it over speakers outside of the darn thing, so it wouldn't have even gotten to the lobby. It should have been headed off at the pass.
But you never, the first time you ever conversed with Ravi Shankar was when he called you in the hospital.
Yes, indeed. I believe that to be the case. I was not at Monterey.
Right, and my feeling is like Ravi, he comes across, obviously putting his playing and feel aside. Like I talked to Zakir Hussain, and when him and Ashish Khan were heading up to Mickey Hart's barn to play 4 straight days of music, there had to be 2 people in the barn at one time playing constantly, and it was veering away from traditional Indian raga music. Ravi was he was just very clear with them to say, you have been given this gift. You have been blessed with this gift of having this ability to play authentic traditional Indian music. Don't stray too far from that. And then I'm reading last night that there was some article, I'll have to find it, where I knew that you guys had become friends and close, and I said, well, maybe he's not such a straight guy. Did Ravi party? Did he have was he open? He obviously was open-minded, but did he drop acid? Did he do anything like that?
I have no knowledge of anything like that. The first place I would go is probably to Pennybaker, who might have a clue.
I guess more to the point.
He was the executive producer on my film Saint Misbehavin', and he filmed Monterey Pop, where Robbie first dropped into the consciousness of the new age of California and America. That was his entrance.
Sure.
As with him and Otis Redding.
It's remarkable, that flood. I guess I wanted to also know from you about how much Indian music, if you incorporated that into any of your poetry or theater skits, because the tablas were, all the ethnic instrumentation was coming over. Emil Richards, who I interviewed a long time ago, when he went on tour with Frank Sinatra, Sinatra had his own plane, and he would just fill up the whole belly of the plane with ethnic percussion. And I'm just trying to, it was just the polyrhythms were a bit mind-blowing for a lot of younger cats, and I wanted to know if it had an impact on you.
We traveled with the sitar player, always. And it was just one of the sounds. And it was really amusing on the plane ride back from Woodstock when the stewardesses gave us the airplane and said that we would have to relinquish control as we flew into the Albuquerque airport. But prior to that, we dressed up in stewardess suits and we're cooking eggs. And I'm laying on the floor reading from Mr. Natural Takes a Vacation by R. Crumb over the plane PA. When a hog farmer comes running back to where I am and says, the pilot wants the sitar player in the cockpit because he's bored. That's when I thought that somebody had toast the pilot.
Right, absolutely, man. That's so hip. Well, who was you always had a different sitar player, or was it the same cat?
No, it was the same cat.
Who is it? Who was it?
I'm trying. I forget.
Okay.
I forget.
All right.
We're talking close to 50 years ago.
No, but he had chop. Obviously he was a legitimate player, though. He could play.
The sitar player that I worked mostly with is a guy named Colin Walcott.
Well, I know, dude. Colin tragically died. I've interviewed everyone from Oregon, everyone in the band multiple times, and he died on the Autobahn, getting crushed. Yeah. How did you and Colin connect?
I was recording a piece from Wind in the Willows, and using Perry Letterman on flute and Colin Walcott on sitar, and The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. It's a story about how the little baby otter is somehow tragically swept downstream, and all the animals are looking for the baby otter. And in the end, the otter is rescued by the god Pan. It's a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful story, and it's one of my A stories that I read to the children, along with Ken Kesey's Tripper the Squirrel meets Big Double the Bear. That's also one of my major stories that I've recorded that with Pete Sears, and it's never been released. The Piper at the Gates of Dawn is somewhere in Harry Belafonte's vault.
Why is it in Belafonte?
Tried to get to it.
Why is it in Belafonte's vault?
It was recorded by Richard Alderson.
Oh my gosh!
And Rich, did I talk to you about Richard Alderson?
No, go right ahead if you want to. We haven't talked.
I do. This is important.
Go ahead.
Chipmunk was a genius in lighting. Richard Alderson, I was turned on to by Chipmunk as the master of sound. He had a studio in Carnegie Hall, where there are many studios, but he had a nice one. And he was building speakers for Leopold Bukowski. And we jumped into his life and introduced him to Bob Dylan. And every day, Bob Dylan would go to Richard's studio and record 5 or 10 songs, just American songs, the full American songbook, one song after another, till he was satisfied that he nailed it, and he would go on to the next. And Richard recorded him on a Nagra. Famously, Richard recorded the Holy Modal Rounders.
Sure.
Their best work. Richard recorded Nina Simone better than anybody else in a live situation. He would go in with a Nagra, which is a brand of tape deck.
Absolutely.
That back in the day, you had to go to Switzerland and talk to the guy, and if he liked you, he would allow you to purchase a Nagra. It was that exclusive a thing at that time. And Richard could grab those knobs, close his eyes, and go wherever you went. And that's why he was so great at Nina, because Nina never went the same way twice. And she was, floating all over the place as the spirit moved her.
I mean, these were like, you're talking about like, just an audience recording. He really captured the ambient, the very warm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like the best recording of at an event ever. I to this day, I think the best thing ever done was Owsley recording Old and in the Way.
Absolutely. I mean, classic. I mean, at the boarding house, 73.
Nobody had done it better.
But Alderson, would you say he was the first monster audience taper? He really perfected that?
Yes. And then the thing is that Richard then ran into this wealthy and I don't know if she was a California Mexican or a Mexican, but she took him to Mexico where she had like a county or something like that. He became Don Ricardo, and they had kids and what have you. So when all that fell apart and he came back to get back into everything, science had taken over all the things that he had developed on his fingertips, so he was kind of rendered obsolete. And he's still out there doing sound, I suspect, but he was the king at one point, and now he's just a number of very good sound recorders. But those were the days, and I remember going into the studio, and all along the ledge, all the way around the top of the studio, are little bottles of what contained, I guess, methamphetamine. from the Holy Modal Rounders. There was an amazing documentary made about the Rounders, by the way, and I got to see it at the George Lucas studio in San Rafael, the Rafael Theater.
Wow!
And it was very exciting, and they also had a screening of Michelle Ezrick's film Saint Misbehavin' about my life and times.
Saint Misbehavin', yeah, no, it's worthy. I was going back here to a concert that you promoted April 25th, 1981, and you introduced the band Captain Jerry Bob Kreutzhardt.
Yeah.
and you know what? Couldn't you tell me a great Bill Kreutzmann story? I mean, that cat, to me, I've never heard a drummer. I've listened to a lot of drummers. I know you have too. I've never really. Can you talk a little bit about Billy Kreutzmann?
Billy was the drummer. Mickey came much later. Billy did it, and he was a wizard. And I became close to Billy in Hawaii. I was over there for Denise Kaufman's 50th birthday. I was flown over and stayed. And Billy just came down the beach, and we hugged and hung, and it was a glorious time. He's really happy there.
He was not. Was he not happy in the States? I mean, he was able to get.
No, he was fine, but there he was. I guess with that capital H, capital A, P, P, Y underline. he was happy, and he was into the rhythm of the surf and the island. It was just great to see him there, because I've seen him stressed, and he was stressless.
Right.
And good-humored, and he was comfortable in his meat, and this was nice. This was really, really, really sweet to have this time with Billy, and I was right on the Honolulu beach there, and was given a place on the beach that people were gone for a month, and so my wife and I inhabited their sector. Now I am in the studio now with a band called the Ace of Cups.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the Ace of Cups?
Sure, absolutely.
It's excellent. They were the first woman rock band, and they still rock, believe me. In their geezerhood, they're not geezerhood to my level, but they're probably 2 levels down, maybe 30 years less old than me. Because in 20 years I'll be 100. In fact, I'm doing a show, I think is it June 10th in Pennsylvania? This huge event.
Right. The Ace of Cups, Mary Gannon, Marla Hunt, Denise Kaufman, Mary Ellen Simpson, and Diane Vitalich.
Yeah, I'm looking. Come on, sucker.
Yeah, June 10th. That's your 80th birthday party in PA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please come to that. And maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a screening of Saint Misbehavin' as part of that, and a really good East Coast band that everybody tells me is quite wonderful. Do you recall the band that's going to be playing at that thing?
So, well, I'll get the name of it right now. But these I've devoted my show this year. 2016 is devoted to the Year of the Woman. And so I've done Rita Coolidge. I've done several other. I got a bunch coming up, but this Ace of Cups band, they're going to be performing at your birthday?
No. I am recording with them
right now.
5 songs, Basic Human Needs, with a big-time producer and a great recording studio, and you will see this song is going to go viral. I am so amazed with what they have done and what the producer has done. I mean, it was amazing at the end of my film during credits with Jackson Browne and Dr. John and Taj Mahal and Bonnie Raitt and Steve. I mean, the cast was phenomenal, and they knocked it out of the park. They knocked it around the world, man. It was a great, great job. But this is something else. And I have never been so excited about any time that I have, I don't regard myself as a musician. I'm somebody who introduces musicians and is friendly with musicians and gets them to take their talent to make blind people not bump into shit. Right. That is my thrill.
No, I dig that.
And I've maybe put on 60 shows over the years to do that. But, in my time in the trenches with my little one-string deck guitar, a miracle happened. We had just blown up with B-52s, the largest teaching hospital in Southeast Asia. And I got to work with like-minded souls to actually rebuild that hospital called Bakmag. And as I was working on that, I think I got down, I was close to 78 pounds. I was a mess. I was living in a geodesic dome. Actually, it was a pod, which is different. It's like quadrants of an orange. And I used to get into it going through the floor. It was on a hillside. So it was, part of it was on stilts. And I'd go under the, call it Wavy's wart. And it had shingles and a little round skylight at the top. And somewhere in Wavy's wart, I scribbled into my phone book, wouldn't it be neat if the people that you meet had shoes upon their feet and something to eat? And wouldn't it be fine if all humankind had shelter? Where did that come from? Oh my God. Wouldn't it be grand if we all lent a hand so each one could stand on a free piece of land? And wouldn't it be thrilling if folks stopped their killing and started in tilling the land? And then the chorus, basic human needs, basic human deeds, doing what comes naturally down in the garden, where no one is apart, deep down in the garden of your heart. And that's how the song began, and I kept adding verse after verse. And at the same time, I'm looking at myself doing this from 15 feet away, hovering around the ceiling of Wavy's wart, saying, how is this happening? It was a miracle. And I'm so excited that this song is going to be like Lean on Me.
When did these lyrics come to you? Back when you were in this orange pod?
Yeah, David Crosby ran at Pacific High School,
right,
for the hog farm, because he did not want me, after my third spinal fusion, bouncing around in the back of a bus. He wanted me to be stationary and to heal. And I will be forever grateful to David for doing this.
Wavy, my show is predicated on the 4 L's, and I wanted you to talk about your concept of love and how you bring love to people. Well,
there's love, and there's love, and there's love, and there's so many kinds of love. But the love that most resonates for me is conscious, perfect love, which unconditional love, which is supporting and giving all of your juice to another human being that they may complete themselves without asking for nothing in return. And that's the real stuff.
Can you give an example of when you did that to somebody?
Most certainly. I think to my own wife when we were going through difficulty and split, and I didn't know if we'd ever get back together again, but I wanted to erase the difficulty with just pure unconditional love and letting go all of the bullshit. And I wrote a very short love song called "Take Whatever You Need to Be You." So I'm going to take the guitar and I'll share this song. I've never done this. Can I say anything and you can just bleep it?
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, here it is. Take whatever you need to be you, Bonnie Jean. Take whatever you need to be you. Take what you need. Don't care if I bleed. Use my soul for the bottom of your shoe. Concha, perfect love is for you, precious fire. Concha's perfect love is for you. Grab you hold tightly and let you go lightly. It's sure it took us time to craft through. You can suck on my grave. I'll stand up and wave. Take whatever you need to be you. That's it.
Wow. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. Wavy, this is fascinating and hits closer to home than you might think, but can you talk about one specific thing that you did to strengthen your marriage in that critical time?
Well, I just let go of all the things that were bothering me, and just let them. Here's the key: water over rock.
Right.
Water over rock.
Right.
I learned a lot about this through the I Ching.
Sure.
There was also a wonderful essay on conscious perfect love by A.E. Orange. Really a brilliant piece of writing. I'm going to jump quickly into something good for a change.
Absolutely.
It might be written there. She put peanuts in my hamburger, page 27. That's when she got me. She put peanuts in my hamburger, and she glowed like a goddess at the grill. She had this place called the Fred C. Dobbs on Sunset Boulevard. It was a restaurant. It had Ferry Lewis on the jukebox. Can you imagine that? Big mugs of Kool-Aid, giant burgers, and wonderful sundaes that she would make up. And, I did marry the girl from the North Country.
That's right.
were, no one said, better people than you have tried to marry this woman. Well,
right.
I didn't see her do it and wondered why she grinned as I bit into the bun. Then threw both the tomato and the lettuce, almost missing the whisper of mayo as I began to encounter the meat. It was not until my second mastication that the peanuts kicked in. Peanuts!
Oh.
The woman actually placed a handful of peanuts in the center of my beef patty. Then she cooked it to perfection and served it up with a frosty mug of pre-punctured cherry Kool-Aid. She seemed all but oblivious to her beauty. A Maria Schell movie star face framed by her North Country honey blonde hair, which was backlit by the Wurlitzer blaring a Frey Lewis into the night. Her name was Bonnie Jean Beecher. I called her Country Pie. And she ran the joint. The joint was the Fred C. Dobbs, and it was the hippest of the hip new restaurants, adorning Sunset Boulevard at that time. It had good food, a killer jukebox, and its far out clientele included Marlon Brando and the Birds. And I used to go in there. I'm deviating.
It's all right.
And I had these decorator bags with maybe an ounce of choice weed and like a Cracker Jack prize, mostly moon soldiers. And it came with a little wrap from me, and people paid twice as much for their weed. It was still the best.
Yeah, right.
But it was also fun. And we used to go from there to dance to the Birds. And she had done several TV shows. I'm abandoning the book, like the Fugitive and Star Trek. She was in the shootout at the OK Corral, where she had a hot love affair with Mr. Chekhov, who was a fellow student at the neighborhood playhouse where I was studying theater, Walter Koenig.
Wow.
And, and she got in big trouble because she walked into Bill Shatner's dressing room and he had his hair off. So he freaked out. He went totally nuts. But she just had to get his autograph for Claude Dopey. Now, we were given this mountaintop in Sunland, California, to in lieu of feeding 40 hogs the size of Davenports. And the mountaintop was owned by Claude Doty, who would bring us slop from the local restaurants that we would use to feed the pigs. And his wife was so enamored with William Shatner that it meant so much to her to have his autograph that she bit through all the crap and made it happen. This is some woman. She was up for her own series on TV when we took off in the buses. First as extras for Otto Preminger's movie Skidoo. Did we discuss Skidoo last time? I don't remember. It was Otto Preminger's acid movie. Am I coming through loud and clear? Clown to tower.
Wavy, welcome back. Just before I let you go for part two, because this was you got your birthday coming up June 10th. What else do you want to talk about as far as upcoming artistic endeavors for Wavy in about a minute?
Well, you're all over the free world, so if anybody happens to make it into California, my actual birthday is at the Sweetwater with Steve Kimmock and friends, which probably will include Bob Weir.
Wow.
And then on the 22nd, it's everybody and their uncle are playing at the Sonoma Event Center, including Yonder Mountain String Band and the New Riders of the Purple Sage. The list is just endless. Go Seva.org or CampWinterRainbow.org. We do 9 weeks for kids and 1 week for grown-ups. It's big fun or your money back. I guarantee it. The most fun you'll ever have in your entire life.
I want to come and teach a broadcasting class there.
That would be wonderful.
All right, well, let's talk, Wave. I love you, man, and we just broke more ground. I'll call you later.
It was very touching. I've never gone to this place before.
I'll take you to places that you've never gone. I love you, man. And
back at you.
All right, talk to you soon.
Kissing builds up your mouth. Okay, bye.
Later. This is the Jake Feinberg Show. We'll be back with Dave Liebman right after this.